The TiLt interview.
Right, and we are recording. Excellent. And that's it. As soon as I press record, my mind goes blank. So
It sounds like me when I record music.
Do you know what I didn't? You know what I didn't do? I didn't say it is pronounced Kade, isn't it? It's not KD or something.
Nope, it's Kade. Yep.
Right, okay. So joining me this evening on TiLt is Kade Katz of Throw the Fight. Kade, welcome.
Thank you so much. So happy to be on the show.
Yeah,
I was
cool,
looking
man.
forward to it all week, man.
Great. I mean, what I was going to tell you was I was actually getting this sorted because checking back through my messages on Twitter, and it was back in February. You were the first one to actually message me directly to say thanks for following the band, and obviously let me know about your solo stuff, which is great. Because,
thank you.
What that does is I've got a little section on TiLt where basically we play the up and coming artists, but if you've got anything that's got something else, then we'll play like the older versions.
Right.
So, for argument's sake, we had Stacey Blades of Crashing Wayward on episode 1. I played a track from LA Guns for him.
Oh, sick.
12 Years Today was episode 2, and I played one of the tracks from their first EP. If you haven't heard them, they're fantastic.
LA Guns, right?
Oh yeah, LA Guns, yeah.
Yeah, we played with them.
Really?
Yeah, quite a few times.
Wow. That's
cool.
Anything
there's
should give us.
I'm trying to think when it was the first time. Maybe like 3-4 years ago we played a festival, and we played just before them. It was like we were kind of headlining towards the end of the night, and then they wrapped up the evening, and I think they had like a 12 o'clock set, and they flew in, arrived to the yard there, and then they crushed it. And the crowd that was still there at 1:30 in the morning was still fantastic, and great dudes.
That's got to be good, man. I always make the joke that the last time I went to see somebody play live was The Cause in 1998. And that's the same response I got last time. So yeah, this is fantastic. I only went because it was actually with my ex-girlfriend at the time. She didn't even want me to go, but it was a good show. I think there was a band on before them, and I can't for the life of me remember what the hell it was, but then I can't remember what I did last week. So So as I said, this is TiLt, which is Today I Listened To.
And sick. Okay, gotcha.
It's on Indie Rocks Radio Tuesdays at 6 o'clock BST. That would make that 12 your time.
About 12, yeah.
So this will be going out. This will be going out Tuesday. You'll have your interview there on Tuesday, and obviously this little thing here we're doing now will end up on the YouTube channel. I'll either put it in directly as the podcast as is unedited, just with a few camera changes,
Hell yeah.
Or I might do something new.
You can do whatever you want. It's your show.
I've been experimenting the last couple of days. I've got 2 interviews on the channel so far, and it's not bad. Takes about 17 hours just to render one.
No, right?
It's worth it, man. It's worth it. So, for the sake of, in fact, hold on. You'll like this if you can hear it. What we're currently doing is
the TiLt interview.
That's what's up.
That is cool, man.
That's official.
Yeah, I do my jingles at home as well. That's my wife's voice.
No way.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome.
I have to buy the sound effects though, but that's where all the money's gone. So, but
right.
they're worth it, man. I enjoy doing it.
That's super cool.
So what I'll ask you, for the sake of the listeners this evening on TiLt, can you give yourself an introduction, please?
So Kade Katz, lead singer, frontman of a hard-hitting rock band from Minneapolis, Minnesota, Throw the Fight. We've been around for 18, 19 years, long time. It's a long journey, but it's a good journey. And then I'm also, in the last year, I started my solo path or solo project titled Kade Katz. And yeah, it's been, I'm just trying to release music as frequent as possible and gain new listeners. You know, it's definitely a difference between the Throw the Fight and the solo project as well. But yeah, that's basically it. Singer-songwriter in the Midwest.
Fantastic. I mean, the funny thing is, you say 18 years for Throw the Fight. I found you guys end of last year.
Okay.
So I started clicking through, because obviously I had a show prior to this called Decades Rock History, when I was basically just going through things from 1950 through to modern day.
Okay.
And I decided to jump the gun and organize episode 1 about 2 months in advance, which was great until it got nearer the time and I realized the stuff I had was no longer new. So I had to filtering people off. And I thought, oh Christ! And I
no longer current,
No, they weren't. And the lucky thing was, I think I had one of the Throw the Fights was actually on episode 1, but it was dated at the time. So then I put on. This is exactly what I've not done. I didn't write down what. You can always tell when things.
Writing things down is too professional.
Exactly. I had. That's going to be something that's going to be out of the edit, because we're not going to do that. That's just going to look really shit, isn't it? I like it. I had you on episode 2. And then that was obviously because of episode 2 and other things. I've been checking out your other tracks and things like that. And that's when I you the other day to basically say, oh, look, that, I used up for the interview, which is great, because you've recently released your, I say recently released, because I haven't written the date down for that either.
Dates are confusing.
Oh, yeah, who needs dates? Let's just say new music, man. It was new.
Everything's new. It's new to somebody.
That's
right?
the point. I mean, if you look at the thing, just get it correct. Discover something new is the tagline for I said Decades Rock History there. No, it's not. It's a tagline for Indie Rocks Radio, which is
right.
There. And on my shirt, I can't believe I've missed that. So, like I said, I've said it before. You can always discover something new. It doesn't have to be new.
Absolutely.
And that's exactly what I've been doing. I was going back through the Throw the Fight back catalogue today.
Yeah,
you can the thing I like though about it is that when you've got a back catalogue like that and you just play it all the way through, you can see that you can hear the progression in how it's gone. Because I'm pretty sure, bearing in mind that I'm not 100% up on all info when it comes to correct genres and stuff, but it's very kind of like very metalcore at the beginning.
Yes.
And it's gradually sort of shifting, isn't it?
Yes.
So it's definitely going to the alt rock now. And I know with your songs,
right?
You're not like that, are you?
No,
I have noticed that.
No,
I don't hate that. I've never been annoyed, but I think the one thing that always gets me with things like the like speed metal, thrash metal, things like that is I like the guitars, the drums, the sound, but then when they start sort of doing that into the microphone, I can't understand a word anyone's saying. So I'm like, it just throws me out.
Yeah. I mean, I listen to all types of music. I listen, I dive into metalcore and metal and, but then hip hop and all that stuff. And, for me, years ago, early on in my career, I guess like 23, 24, I was kind of in those post-hardcore phase, and you're trying to figure out the sing scream type thing. And, as I've gotten older, I'm trying to perfect and become just a better vocalist overall. And I've kind of taken a break of how to scream and destroy my voice, and this is an instrument, so I'm trying to make it last long, just like my career, I guess. And for me, I noticed as I took on being the frontman of Throw the Fight, you said you listened to the previous catalog, and it's fantastic. And there's definitely progression and, more, it's heavier or more screamy.
Yeah.
And then since I have taken over, my main focus is just the singing abilities and catchy melodies and a pop aspect. And then Ryan, who's, the only founding member of an original member of the band.
Yeah.
We've, recently found he's like a secret weapon when it comes to screaming.
All right.
And so we've kind of just put him in certain tracks just to emphasis, a little bit of what the music's doing and
you want to keep
that sort of thing.
Your signature sound that's still there, but obviously let everyone know that, you're growing as a band, you're progressing into something different.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, our music is more upbeat, kind of fast punk, little metal inspirations and stuff like that. And, I just feel that as gaining new listeners and keeping new listeners is you want people to sing along to your stuff. And how do you make that accessible? Well, you're not just screaming at your fans. And of course, like a lot of, and I also focus on too, like the lyrical content can be a little more deeper and heavier and emotional, but still like brought to light in a singing aspect. And I think incorporating Ryan and having some of those screaming elements just highlights the music as well. But we're not going to be in the mic just screaming and doing all that stuff.
Understandable, mate. I mean, 18 years on, you're going to have some loyal fans with you, so they not everyone's going to think, I don't like the new wave. So if you keep them happy by throwing in the old school bits.
Yeah,
which is
absolutely. One thing we've noticed too is with me taking over, we've gained new listeners and definitely made the old ones happier, which is fantastic. But we've gained a lot of new fans and just excited of the new sound and direction that things have been going, which just makes us a little more confident in what we're doing and pushing the needle a little bit more, which is, we're creatives by habit and nature. So we're going to kind of always want to push the envelope for ourselves and then also for our fans. And we don't want to go too far off the grid. So where we just completely lose everyone, but, kind of just keep that pocket and just create the best songs we possibly can.
I think you find though as well that those that have been with you from the start will have aged along with you too.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, like everybody's genres change when it comes to what they listen to as the years progress.
Yes.
I've spoken about this to people loads of times on the last podcast of 12 Years Today. We were talking about what we used to listen to and things like that. So I've gone through a massive progression just myself.
Right.
And if me as a listener can do that, then there's no reason why you as an artist can't.
Absolutely.
I mean, at the end of the day, if you lose 2 listeners but you gain 4, then it's a win for you, which is great.
Right. And ultimately, I mean, we want to be doing what comes natural to us and is authentic to us. And I think fans going to pick up on that when there's it's fake or you're forcing stuff or you're just doing something to appease what they're used to. And I mean, our fans have grown with us. We're all older, we have different we're at different spots in our lives and everything too. So I think just being able to be related to new fans and old fans is key as well.
Fantastic. So you said we were briefly chatting back and forth through Twitter and all that, and you advised me that Settle Your Sins was the first album that you were full on that album.
Yeah. So kind of a quick backstory is I had known the guys in Throw the Fight since they basically started almost. I moved to Minneapolis from Seattle, and right away, my band at the time was joining shows with Throw the Fight. There was a few times in the early stages that Throw the Fight asked me to join, or I had tried out for guitar. And, I was kind of just focusing on my own thing or the band I was currently in. And the band kind of took a hiatus between the album What Doesn't Kill Us, and then Transmissions. And just before Transmissions, Ryan had reached out to me saying, hey, you know what, we're no longer going to be on hiatus. We want to start a new process and a new record. Would you like to join and be part of the writing? And they wanted me to play bass, which naturally I play guitar, but I had played bass in previous projects. So I was like, okay, cool. And the fact that they felt strong about my strong songwriting abilities, was a huge compliment. So me joining the band, I've been in Throw the Fight for almost 7 years. But my first project or release with them was Transmissions, where a lot of co-write and that sort of thing. And then after that, we had switched singers and I joined, and we released a couple singles featuring me. My Disaster was one.
Yep.
And then the second one was Wolves in the Dark, which is probably one of our biggest, definitely most viewed views on YouTube for a music video.
It is, yeah.
It's like over 2 million or something
There's
that.
There's a lot of those style ones going out at the moment as well. Which is it's not quite a lyric video, is it? Because the lyrics don't come up. There's a couple of words come up, but
right.
There seem to be a lot of lyric videos that crop up nowadays, which seems to be the thing lately.
Yes,
I've noticed. But I see you kept yours with like the funky artwork and things like that. Give it all moody, and it's really cool.
Yeah. So the video, we wanted to just create a cool visualizer, and it just ended up taking off. And then since then we've really released some other visualizers or lyrical type videos. And then we shot a few in-person videos, a performance video with Paper Wings, and then I believe the other one was Misery, which we shot the very first stages of COVID. We shot in our house with our phones and then just set it to our videographer, and he spliced it all together. But the visualizers work, and people they go to YouTube to listen to music, and just having like some sort of visual just kind of highlights that, and like you said, sets the mood.
YouTube can be seen anywhere now. I mean, I've got it. I can play it through the Xbox, I can play it through the Skybox, I can have it on the big screen TV, and watching music videos is great. I mean,
right.
I'm 41. I grew up watching music videos,
Yeah, dude, I'm gonna be 40, and it's I grew up in the era of MTV and all that stuff, and I love shooting music videos. You guys got
MTV in 81. We got it in 87, I believe. So you're 6 years in front of us. But speaking of which, if you can get it, there was a. Can you get Sky Arts at all over there, or any way of getting that? They had a documentary called "I Want My MTV," which talked about how it rose to prominence and all that. It's really good.
Dang, I would definitely check that out. It could be on Amazon or something like that.
It might be. If not, there's probably certain ways around getting it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely worth getting, because it's fantastic. I do like the documentaries, things like that.
Yeah, me too.
So what we're going to do this evening, obviously, because you are the featured artist tonight on TiLt, we are obviously going to be doing a little reverse of time, and we're going to be heading back to one of the tracks that you have been included on. Yeah. With Throw the Fight, which as long as you don't mind, I chose that we'd actually do, and you've literally just said it, and that's it, Wolves in the Dark. I've got Wolves in the Dark prepared. Yeah. Which will be part of
Tilt Your Head Back.
Tilting it back.
Absolutely. So that's what we're going to be doing with that. That'll obviously play next. So if you could just give us a brief introduction for the track, and that'd be cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So Wolves in the Dark, like I had mentioned, was the second release featuring me. And it was the song that Chris, our guitarist, kind of had the riffs a little bit. I brought it in and kind of restructured it. And lyrical wise, I just felt like at the time, I had some friends and even myself were going through some difficult times and transitions in life. And, the words kind of just spewed out somewhere of just like the wolves in the dark and not being alone and like finding almost like your tribe and your pack and sticking to surround yourself around good people and not feeling alone, I guess. And so it's kind of just one of those it can sound a little darker, but ultimately it's kind of a feel good song, lyrical wise.
Ironically, it came out a year before COVID, but then it seems to fit perfectly after it, doesn't it?
Yes, which is pretty crazy. And I feel like it just connects, to people that are lonely and maybe feeling left out. And I think that's one of the beauties of music. It brings us together at all different times, and it finds you at certain times of your life, so you can relate to it during those moments, or even go back to it if you're struggling through that. And I've received so many messages and just huge response to the song and what it meant to them, and certain times it hit them in their life when they were going through some pretty difficult things. And ultimately, if you can do that, it's a win.
Absolutely fantastic.
TiLt.
So we've had a brief chat about Throw the Fight. As I said, I was going through the back catalogue today and flicking through Settle Your Sins.
Yeah.
I found 2 tracks I actually really enjoy on there.
Hell yeah.
Don't know if it says much about me though, because of the titles of them: Nightmare and Pain.
Yeah.
So, I like Pain because I'll be honest with you, I'm not really that great on picking up on lyrics because fibromyalgia, brain fog, and all that. I can hear something, I don't retain it very well. But
right.
Despite the fact that I'm pretty sure Pain's about a relationship,
yep,
splitting up with someone, but I did enjoy the line, "So much pain, every day feels the same."
Yeah,
because that's me. that's fibromyalgia. That's living with pain. That is so. That bit stuck in my head.
Yeah,
and I was like, "Oh, that's really cool." Then I realized this is about a relationship breakup. I was like,
yeah.
So I don't hate the song for that. I thought it was really great. And Nightmares just kicked straight in.
Slaps.
It just doesn't stop.
Yeah,
and it's awesome. So those are the 2 favorites from that. And
that's awesome. Yeah, with Pain. So kind of a backstory is we had written and recorded Settle Your Sins with our previous vocalist.
Yeah.
And
because if I recall, I did actually read this up. He left in 2019, didn't he?
Yeah, somewhere. Yes. Yeah. So we had everything like ready for release and all this stuff. And, as music happens in the industry, things happen. And so what, we decided, hey, I'm going to take over as vocalist. I mean, I did quite a bit of singing as well before, but we're like, hey, we have the music and we need to get this record out. It's been pushed back long enough, essentially. And so Pain, funny enough, is I wrote that song in full, just on acoustic, and I was going through a pretty difficult time with a relationship, and no intentions for it to even make the record.
Yeah.
And I think I just recorded it simple on my phone and sent it to the dudes, and they were like, "Oh my God, this is awesome." It's it stands out on its own from the rest of the record, I feel.
It does,
and so we were kind of back and forth with that, but the producers were like, the song is, hit, it's catchy. And then for me, it meant a ton. So, like I said, it was previously recorded, but it's one of the only songs that I didn't have to rewrite lyrics and melody to, because
Oh.
I had full ownership of it. So I just got to sing on it, and which was, kind of a blessing in disguise, because, I had originally wrote the song for myself, and then brought it to Throw the Fight. It was tracked. And then at the end of the day, I got to sing my heart out to it. But yeah, like you said, I mean, it's definitely based upon a relationship. But the feeling of pain, I feel like anyone can relate to that at any certain time of their life, whether it's daily, seasons, that sort of thing. And the whole umbrella of pain means something different to anyone else. And, there's different takeaways of some of the underlying lyrics in there. But and I think the music kind of keeps it upbeat also, where it's not like such a downer song. And I'm a sap for writing sad songs, but the music kind of keeps going. And to me, it's kind of like a Alkaline Trio, Blink-182 kind of throwback punk type riff.
Hot punky, but with a bit more punch,
Right. And it just kind of just keeps going. And then you had touched on Nightmare, and that one, I mean, just comes in ripping. The riff is so sick, and definitely super fun to play live.
I can imagine that's going to sound incredible. That will.
It slams. And then with that one, I mean, lyrical wise, it's similar to Pain. I mean, it's kind of just living that day in and day out of feeling stuck, or are things going to get better? Whether it's for yourself personally, or I kind of look at it as looking on to somebody else's life and seeing like, man, they're really struggling. Every day is kind of the same, that sort of thing. And so, but trying to find some sort of light at the end of the tunnel of, you're going to get through it. And this, going through some of those defeats and stuff just makes you stronger at the end.
I mean, the Settle Your Sins album sort of has that kind of progression and feel across the songs. They all sort of meld into one another, as if you're taking a subject but getting it from different perspectives.
1,000%.
That's what I took from it, at least. So
you're spot on.
If I'm wrong, let me know. I've had a pretty good track record of being correct over song lyrics recently. I just can't remember the damn things. It's not my fault.
Right. I get asked a lot. I even got asked on an interview yesterday, is what songs do I like or get me through stuff? Or I'm kind of the same. Like I obtain more of the melodies and catchiness versus like what their lyrics are and what they're saying. But I thought it was kind of a blessing in disguise, as I wrote the lyrics and melodies to this record in a matter of, rewrote them, I guess, in a matter of 2 months, which is unheard of, really. To like, go in, retrack and do stuff that I already kind of had written. So I had to get rid of those old melodies and ideas and rewrite them again, aside from Pain. But I think, writing so subconsciously, and just then now looking at it later, is I can kind of see the lyrical content being like what we were going through as far as a band, thinking like, we had our shit together, and having to go through a different obstacle that we didn't plan on doing, but it's for the better. And then also going through relationship stuff and unknown, and in that department, it kind of just spewed out and sprinkled kind of throughout the whole record, really. So that's kind of, your takeaway is spot on.
Cool. I mean, you're obviously going to get a lot of feedback from the band members themselves, whether something's working, whether it's not. And obviously, each of you are different. You're going to have different points of view from the way things go.
Right.
So that's going to build on things. And if you've got a good unit there, then, it melds together and you get something quite astounding, which is, I think, pretty good.
Yeah.
It actually led into an additional question I actually had there, which was, so you've talked about when you've had to sort of rewrite lyrics.
Yeah.
In all honesty, when if you've penned a track and you think this is good, and then someone basically turns around and says, I don't like this and that, is that demoralizing at all, or do you work around that and think I can do better, or does it push you to succeed more, or does it sit there and you then write another track about why this guy's an asshole?
You know, I've got to say I'm super blessed and fortunate being in a band with Chris, Ryan, and Jeff. Like, we've been best friends for years. We're always going to look out for each other's best interest, and ultimately, like, we want to do what's best for the band. And you know, but we've never really had like this doesn't work or that doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know, obviously no one wants to be critiqued or like, hey, this is my idea, and then there's some changes, like, but no, everyone kind of puts their egos aside and ultimately just wants to create the best song possible, right? And you know, luckily those guys, when I write lyrics and all these things, like, they're super supportive. They understand that I'm trying to have things as far as a deeper meaning, where I felt like maybe stuff previous was kind of stagnant and didn't really have a lot of depth. So, you know, I think that's one takeaway that we've noticed is like more gravitation towards the meanings of the songs, and you know, not just something to bang your head to, but also maybe get you through some difficult times,
something to actually listen to as well.
Yeah. And you know, I feel that we're just all on the same page and trying to do what's best. You know, we recently just worked on a new song that'll be out shortly, and one of the parts in the song was a bridge, and you know, we take pride in writing fantastic bridges, but you know, I just couldn't get a vibe from it, and over and over I was trying for weeks and ready to scrap it. And finally we were all like, you know what, let's all get in the room, because you know, we haven't really all been in one room just with everything going on. So we met up last weekend, and you know, I think just having us as a group in the studio, being able to shoot ideas off of each other and hear things for in that moment versus via text or voicemails or whatever it might be. We just were able to like finish the bridge, and it sounds fantastic. You know, and I was the one like pushing back, being like, this doesn't work. And, you know, just having their support there. And we even joked about it afterwards. It's like, shit, we all just need to be in the same room, and this is how we get through it. And, you know, we got through it, and it sounds fantastic. So yeah, I mean, we all just want to make each other better and just be the best group that we possibly can, and support each other as friends as well.
Like a pack of wolves.
Yes, in the dark.
In the dark. I was forgive me for looking down at my phone a second ago, because when you said about a new track coming up, I was just trying to recall which track it was. I played on episode 2, and it was Going Numb.
Yes.
Which I have noticed as well that you've also recently dropped an acoustic version of.
Yes.
Which is fantastic as well, I might add.
Thank you.
It is nice when bands do that. I do like that. You take something quite as, you know, energetic with your sound, and then suddenly just sort of pull it back and say, well, here's the same song but in a different way.
Yes.
There's so many that have done that. One that always springs to mind is Dave Grohl, Everlong acoustic. Completely different song but still the same, and it's so good.
It's not easy to do, because you know, you present.
It's funny you say it, because I was going to say is it, because me being not musically trained would assume that taking something as big as that and sort of condensing it down to just
simplicity,
would be easier, like Nirvana with on the MTV Unplugged album, you know. But it's obviously not, is it? It's
no. Well, what's funny is, so I write stripped down, like, you know, I write everything on acoustic, and then I build from it, and I add layers to the cake, so to speak. And for me, I just like things being simplified. But we initially we weren't planning on doing like a stripped back or acoustic EP, but I had a few ideas on some of the songs, and I was like, this would be really cool to kind of give these songs a different look under a different lens, and have a different vibe. And you can throw on, Wolves in the Dark or Paper Wings and in the gym, or, have an uplifting time. But I also to be able to create something that you can put on when you're cooking dinner for your significant other, you're on a drive, you're kind of having a chill evening, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And our EP called Inside Out,
That was the
I
one.
think does that.
It does indeed.
And it's just, chilled. It's more, that's more my wheelhouse as far as singing, just simple, and, being able to throw in some falsetto, just that sort of thing, and just having a nice vibe to it.
Yeah.
And Going Numb, funny enough, is we tracked shortly after Settle Your Sins. We actually wrote it when we were tracking Settle Your Sins. Chris brought me this riff, and straight away I had vocal ideas and melodies, and couldn't get it out of my head. So we started recording it on our phones. I sent it to the dudes when we were in Pennsylvania tracking, and pretty much got back to the state, or to Minneapolis, and tracked it right away. And then we did the whole Inside Out acoustic EP, and I was like, Going Numb would be sick dialed back and stripped down. So we released that actually first before the full version, which you always see, the full band version, and then months later the more dialed back thing. So I thought it was kind of cool and unique to release the chilled version first, and then kind of surprise everyone with like, hey, here's a full out band version, and it's got a totally different vibe and style to it. And some people could connect to the chilled version, and then some people could really connect to the the full on version,
or both.
Yeah, or both.
And
and I mean, I've said this before in other interviews, but I feel the Inside Out EP is probably one of the most proud projects or albums, so to speak, that I've ever done. And it wasn't really that planned. It was just like, and the band previously had never done anything like this. And it took, kind of some conversations to say the least, of like, hey, we should try this. Like, why the hell not? And for everyone to get on board and then release the songs, I thought was amazing. And just to be able to release them under a different lens is really tough, but fun.
Here's a question for you then. Bearing in mind, I don't really like. I did say we wouldn't discuss politics or COVID, and we both said the word COVID twice tonight. And if I was just
it's hard not to. It's reality.
I've said it 4 times now, so
I'll say it one more. No,
but that particular EP, do you think that would have been done had you not had that additional year of not being together all the time?
That's a great question. I don't think so. I think we would have focused on really pushing Settle Your Sins, and driving that into the dirt. And early on, as me taking over, I strongly suggested, like, we need to put out as much music as possible. We always had like this big window of no music, and I'm constantly writing music, and have anxiety if I'm not putting out music. I just feel like it's never enough. So I think we would have put out singles, but they probably would have piggybacked more off the vibe and style of Settle Your Sins versus kind of going off this different path and being like, hey, you know what, let's try doing something acoustic or reimagined. So I think without having to go through what we did last year. I don't know. There may have been maybe a song that we would have done a reimagined or acoustic, but not like a 4-song EP.
Exactly.
So for me, I think it was a blessing in disguise, and
Yeah.
Also gives new fans and old fans a look that I have different singing abilities. And like I said before, I mean, there's people that listen to our albums in the gym, but then there might be a demographic of females that are like, hey, I don't need to bang my head constantly, but I will put on a more chilled out version of your stuff, and make dinner and have girls over or whatever. And I think that's really another aspect that we wanted to do, is just broaden the demographic.
Exactly. I mean, I've said this a couple of times. The past year, yes, it's been tough, but the bands I've spoken to, literally just online or in the few interviews that I've done, we've all had the same outlook, that they've had that year to sort of get back to basics when it comes to ideas for music and other things. So there's a silver lining to everything.
Yeah, 1,000%. I mean, I feel that without that, like I said, we probably would have been playing more shows and just driving Sell Your Sins into the dirt and trying to figure out how to come up with a new EP or new singles in that time. But it kind of gave us an idea of what really works, and making each song and project that we're doing have a little more time with it, instead of just trying to rush everything and get it out to appease to everyone. And it just gave us an opportunity to try new things. What better time than to do that?
Exactly. I mean, and that's what's been fantastic about it, because like I say, the amount of fantastic music that's come out through 2020, because people have had the time. I know obviously there's been, we're not going to focus on the bad things, because despite the fact that you haven't been able to get out and you haven't been able to tour or do appearances, things like that, means you've had more stuff to actually offer your fans, your new listeners and things like that. And it's just there's an abundance of music out there. I mean, just putting these shows together per week. Like I say, last week I didn't have an interview on the show, which usually takes about 20 minutes off of the playtime. I still had to kick 3 tracks off because I'd run out of time when I was recording, which is So that's why I don't do it live, because obviously, first of all, I can't. Kids and dogs in the house, and too many F's and F bombs dropped if I'm doing it live. So.
Well, one thing I keep trying to highlight as a positive for any of these bands and artists that weren't able to tour and all that stuff. Obviously, we're all in the same boat, which usually that's never the case, right? You're always looking at some artists and thinking, oh, if I had this, I'd be happy or whatever. And we're all in the same boat. And what I find as a positive is, for us, we took advantage of trying to write and record and release as much music as possible because we couldn't tour. So looking forward to shows when they do happen, is people have sat with our record, Sell Your Sins, singles, all this new music. So when they do hear us or see us live, these songs aren't so new to them like they would if we were just to hit the road. They've sat with them for a year or 8 months. And so then when you do perform them, they know the words, they know everything that's going on, and they're more engaged with it. So I think that's just going to bring the live shows an element to a different level. So I find that, as a huge positive.
I'm trying to remember whether it was The Simpsons or Family Guy when they made that joke. They were out at the a festival or something. And they said, "And here's one from our new album." They went, "Boo!" Because it's like, it seems daft that if I'd find it incredible if I was out to see a live band and they said, "And this is the new song," I'd be like, "Wow, is this the first time they've played it?" But then you get people back going, "No, play the song I've listened to 150 times at home and 2 times in the car before I got here." And you're like,
"Yeah,
man, off.
Yeah, and I mean, as far as us, we want to play the new stuff because that's our new baby, right?
Exactly.
We've just been grinding on it, and it means something to us, and we just can't wait to release it.
Plus, you get that bonus as well. If you're going to be testing the waters in front of a live studio audience, then you can see how they react, rather than sitting there waiting and thinking, I wonder what kind of feedback we're going to get on this new track that was released an hour ago.
Right. And like you said, I mean, nobody, unless you're a diehard fan and you're just like, oh, I can't wait to hear this new song.
Yeah.
But you're still not going to digest it as you would if you've sat on it for a month or two.
True.
Listening to it on whatever platform. So, yeah, I look forward to not saying, hey, this is a new song. Like, hey, all this stuff's been out for quite a while. You should know it. Like, let's have a good time.
And if you don't know it, you're still going to have a good time.
Right. I mean,
not to say you paid for the ticket. You pay for the ticket. We're playing this song. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it's on the set list, man.
Yeah. If you didn't see the set list before you came in, leave.
I mean, not to say that we're not going to play a new song, but for the most part, all this stuff has been out, and and then the other thing too with streaming platforms is you can kind of see what songs are hitting for people, so you can almost create your set list based around that, right? So you're like, oh shit, these are our top 10 favorite songs. Let's sprinkle a couple of our favorites in here, but this is already what
people want to come and
it's proof. This is what people are already listening to, so this is what they'll probably want to hear live.
Excellent. So what we're going to do now, we've had our chat about Throw the Fight. We're going to be talking now about your solo career.
Yeah.
Which if I've got the information correct, would have kicked off around 2019.
Yes, sir.
Excellent. So you were still doing your own thing before the Settle Your Sins album was actually in the bag.
Yeah. So kind of what to kick off the Kade Katz project is, I had done solo stuff previous, more just like singer-songwriter, acoustic stuff, just live performances. I never released anything. I was kind of just opening up for friends' bands or punk bands, and had an opening slot or playing second, just me and a guitar. And I stepped away from that to kind of focus on being in a band. I had so much material that I was working on, and I was like, none of this stuff is going to see the light of day with Throw the Fight. And I wanted to figure out how I could get back into singing full time, and not playing bass and singing backups or whatever. So I was gonna do Kade Katz regardless. And I started just kind of putting in the hopper a bunch of songs that I had written, started recording them with ex-bandmate, longtime friend, Jeremy Turek at Nightfall Studios here, where we've rented this place for numerous of years.
Yeah.
And he started dabbling into producing and engineering and stuff like that. So I was kind of like the guinea pig of trying everything. And, like I said before, is I write everything acoustic, everything's pretty dialed back. So we kind of just would do an acoustic and then myself, and then we just started messing with certain elements, whether it's different plugins and adding new elements to the song and bringing them to life, and in a way that I'd never had before. My first release was called Running Scared in 2019.
Yeah, I've got that. I've actually written that one down, funnily enough.
Yeah, and that one, surprisingly, like, the response was fantastic. I didn't know what people are going to think, but I was doing it for me. I was just like, I have these songs, and if I'm not putting them out, it's literally driving me crazy and almost making me more depressed, because I just felt like I wasn't doing what I should be doing. And so I released Running Scared. Quickly followed that up.
Any reason behind the name of the track? I mean, is it about going solo, or?
No, actually not. It just it was just one that I wrote fairly quick. I liked the vibe of it, and it was just one that I was like, this is a pretty strong lead off single to introduce me as Kade Katz. And most of the content and everything with Kade Katz is relationships, I guess.
Yeah.
Tying it to whether it's significant other or friendships or whatever, just people fleeting in and out of your life, right? So yeah, it was just kind of like Running Scared, I thought was a strong one to lead with. And then I quickly introduced Agony, which was right after that. Again, more dialed back. Not really any percussion.
Yeah.
It's just like me and my voice, really. And then from there, we kind of just stockpiled a few more songs, and each song
losing the Zoom feed.
I was learning from it. I was slowly in all this stuff. So
one sec.
it was,
I completely lost you there. Go on.
So released Agony, and then just started stockpiling a few other songs, and with each song just started adding like little elements and learning what I liked doing. There was a few that didn't make the cut, and I tried forcing it, and I was like, for the most part, any Kade Katz song is, I write really, really fast. It just comes out, and I'm not trying to like force anything.
Because it comes across unnatural, doesn't it?
I mean, I know when a song is, when you have that spark or that lightning in a bottle where the riff happens super fast. I instantly start getting a melody, and then I start word vomiting, and certain words or subject matters start coming out. And within a matter of days or whatever or less, the song's written. And if I think it's catchy and it's still in my head, my new practice is just get in the studio right away and track it, and it's fresh.
I kind of liken musicians to actors in the same sense that if you're watching a film and the actor's not convincing enough to portray said character, it really throws you out. And you can pick up on that vibe when you're listening to a track. If you're listening to something, you can tell. Well, I'm not going to say for everybody. I like to think that on occasion when I'm listening to something, if it can move me emotionally, then I'm obviously on the same path as the person who's offered it up, rather than someone sitting there and being like, I've just gone into the studio and I've got a sheet of paper that was written by 17 people in suits, because there's no soul to it,
No, it's too manufactured. Exactly. I mean, and there's enough manufacturing going on in the world, or lack thereof.
There's been a lack of manufactured stuff in the past year.
Funnily
enough.
Wonder why.
The independent scene seems to be flourishing.
Right.
It's like, wow.
Exactly.
Alert.
And what's crazy is what people don't understand is you write and record music, and then it's got to be put on the back burner, and you wait for all the behind the scenes stuff. And then it's coming out, 6 months, 3 months, later. And there's just so much behind the scenes stuff that takes place.
The red tape.
And for me, taking on the solo deal is having enough music where I can have a few months ahead of myself. I can build content around that because it's all me. And make sure that the songs are great and then can connect, but then also having content that goes around it as well that's eye-catching. But I also want to not go too far out where those songs might not be right in the moment, or I've already written something that's more meaningful to me, or I'm always trying to outdo myself when I write a song. Like,
must be frustrating.
Well, I'm my worst critic too, man. Like
you're not a Libra. Awful. You're not a Libra by any chance, are you?
I am a Leo.
Oh right, I was going to say, well, that's lucky because I'm my own worst critic as well. I used to do amateur dramatics. I never got anywhere huge. But,
Yeah.
I'd constantly dislike something I'd done. If you walk on with your right foot first instead of your left foot, or the other way around, and you suddenly think that's completely thrown out my entire night.
Yeah.
And the only person who notices it is you.
Right. Yeah.
What is that? Is that a creative brain? Are we just mental?
I 100%. I feel like it's totally a creative and it's an artistic brain. Like, you're so vulnerable being an artist, whether you paint, you write, you sing, whatever it might be. You have a show, because you want it to be the best to your ability, and but you're constantly evolving and learning something new every time you go into the studio or you do an interview or whatever it might be. So as long as you can learn from those experiences and then introduce them into what you're doing currently or moving forward, I think it's huge. But yeah, I mean, you always want to strive for more and better. And let's face it, I'm in the music industry where you're constantly, somebody's like, well, why aren't you Taylor Swift, or you're a musician?
Why do you want to be Taylor Swift? No offense, but I think, I don't know what it is. I can't get into her music. Like she's ever going to watch this. But Taylor, you're a very talented girl. You really are, and you've got some really good tunes. But it's just this whole, I dated this guy and now I've written another album. Come on,
Yeah.
Damn you, Kanye. Why didn't you just stay sat down? There we go. There, I said it. Oh, kicking things. Shit. Not shit. No, damn it. Going nuts now. Totally off the subject of things. I do get a bit daft when it comes to things like that. So,
well, and everyone thinks that you're in a band and then you're just like this rock star and you make money, and but then they compare you to like, why aren't you such and such a rock band or whatever, and it's like, how many bands there are. I'm just happy to be doing this.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing, and takeaway is like, if you're second guessing it, or it's constantly on your mind whether you want to, whatever it is you want to achieve or do, and you're not doing it, you just got to do it. And that's one of the things with my solo career is, I had all these songs and I was like, you know what, it's me holding myself back, which is so freaking ridiculous. And then it was kind of just like, you got to dive in and release this stuff. And obviously you put something out and you think it's the best thing ever, and you get 20 listens and you're like, oh my God, I suck. And, you just go down this spiral of just beating yourself up. But, as you keep doing it, you're just going to naturally grow listeners, followers, and somebody's going to find it one way or the other. And ultimately you got to do it for you regardless.
Exactly. You're not the first person that said that in the last few months. Actually, there seems to be less emphasis these days on earning the big money, because as in my last podcast, the conversation went that the money just isn't there as it used to be.
Right.
But at the end of the day, those that are making the music now that people are actually responding to are doing so because of the passion for the music, and they're doing it for themselves as opposed to, I want to make millions. No, you do it for yourself and continue to do what you do because you are appreciated, and that's what's great. If it is just 20 listeners listening, that's 20 people.
There's 20 people that didn't hear it, right? If you didn't have those listeners, or if you didn't have that song, nobody would listen to it. Like, exactly. It's only so good in your head for so long, and then you've got to release it to the people.
Yeah. And that's what started me off on this, because I originally was doing like a rock retrospective over the 70 years. It was more mainstream though at the time.
Yeah.
But I've noticed in the past 3 weeks doing TiLt, it's really picking up because I've got my own little legion. I've got a group called the TiLt Legion on Twitter.
Heck yeah.
Which is all over in the States, actually. No one over in the UK wants to join for some reason. I don't know why. But they're really vocal and they're fantastic. A group of ladies over there, and we're starting to build a bit of an army with the 12 years today army. So it's the TYT army and the TiLt Legion together.
Hell yeah.
So we're doing that, and that's great because like Tuesdays, I just sit on Twitter and just interact with them because I can't do a live show, but I can interact with them
right.
at the same time, and that's great.
You know? Well, and I think I think there's something special of you creating your own audience, versus somebody creating it for you. So there's, doing everything yourself, it's a lot of work. It's there's a lot of factors. Like I said, with all this stuff, there's so much behind the scenes stuff that takes place that people don't consider. And, when you release any sort of music or a video, for anyone to click on it and give you 2 seconds is hard. But, if you're reaching out and kind of just introducing yourself to these fans, making them feel special, letting them know, hey, thanks for following. They might check out your other stuff, and if they do, that's great. And you're creating your own fan base. It's kind of old school way versus like, oh, here's so and so on the radio, and then people just go, oh, they only know you by that song. And you're like, we have a full catalog, or we have a whole new album, but only when people just focus on that one specific song that they hear. And I think that there's something really special about just finding those groups, right? And creating like your own army.
Absolutely. And I've, to be honest, when I first started doing this way around with the new artists, I was concerned that no one was going to listen. But I've been informed that actually I don't sound too bad, and I'm actually quite natural when it comes to chatting to people on here as well, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, you got a natural. Yeah, you're great at it.
Well, you're the third person on 3 interviews, so I'm doing 100. I'm 100% capacity now. That's brilliant.
There you go.
So this evening for TiLt, we're going to be playing your new single, which is Don't Tell Me, because I literally had it a minute ago. Oh, Jesus Christ. I had it on me just a second ago. I thought I'd written it down. Yes.
Oh, no worries.
Playing Head Games.
Yes, sir.
Do you want to give us a quick rundown about what Playing Head Games is about?
Yes. So
obviously relationship thing again.
Yep. Dead giveaway. Shocker, right?
What gave it away, man?
So what's funny with Playing Head Games is I had the guitar riff for, I don't know, maybe a week, and couple little melodies here and there, nothing like to stand out. And a longtime friend of mine, he gave me a call, and we always catch up, and we were going through relationship advice or whatever, and he'd called me months before talking about the girl he was dating, and things were just like not going the way he anticipated, and I kind of just gave him insight of like, hey dude, I'm sorry, this is kind of what's going on. And so we touched base again after a few months, and I was literally sitting in a Guitar Center parking lot before going in and buying some of this recording gear that I've got here. And we just started chatting about the situation again. And, he was totally falling in love with the girl, and which is, spoiler alert, that's the chorus. But the thing is like, as I was giving him advice, I just kind of started jotting down what I was telling him. Like, hey, the writing's on the wall. She's not that into you. you know,
Bizarrely,
there's no use in you crying, because she's being pretty obvious of how she's feeling. She just doesn't want to hurt you. So she kind of goes around this different ways of almost leading you on, but not wanting to let you down. Almost like, you need to break up with me, I'm not going to break up with you. Like, he's a great dude and too nice. I want
to be friends.
Yeah, exactly. And then, you know, she goes back to,
we're not saying that the friend zone is actually a bad thing, because you know, we're gentlemen at the end of the day.
Right, absolutely. But well, you know, she started gravitating towards her old ways of dating, you know, kind of just guys that are jerks, and that's what they're used to. So like, she's hardwired that way. And so for him to be this nice guy, and you know, he's totally fallen in love with her, but he likes the idea of falling in love with her because you know, she's not giving it back. So it was kind of just crazy. Like I said, I just started writing down some of the advice or things I was saying, and you know, I kind of just went home later that night and had, you know, I See Your Ghost, and the Writings on the Wall, I'm Falling in Love with You, kind of just like these highlighted words or phrases that I had, and then I started just putting them to that guitar riff of playing head games. And again, it kind of came pretty quick after that, and I jumped in the studio probably the following week and tracked it in one session. And then Jeremy Turk from Nightfall, you know, he spent some time with doing a little piano riff and some of the production elements. And I mean, within a week, it was a quick turnaround, and I was like, this thing's catchy. It connects hopefully to people, and they can relate to
I think
the situation, whether
it'll transcend both sides there, but both men and women will look at that, listen to that, and think, you know, I completely agree, because it's everybody's been through that, you know.
Everyone has totally been through that situation where, you know, you're into somebody and they're playing games, and you know, nobody wants to date that person, but you keep trying. You keep, you know, well, if I do this and I do that, well, then, you know, at the end of the day, you're not being your true self, and you're not going to be happy because you're constantly just trying to appease to that person's standards, which you're clearly not meeting their standards. No. They just don't want to break up with you because nobody wants to hurt anyone. So, but you know, to wrap up the story is, after our conversation, he broke up with her, and you know, I was like, dude, you need to rip the Band-Aid off, because she's not going to do it. And I sent him the song, you know, after it was finished, and I was like, you know, thanks for the inspiration, right? And he's like, oh my God, dude, like, this is spot on. And just to be able to like articulate that in the form of a song, and then listen back to it, and even myself go, God damn it, like, I've been in this situation too. Like, here I'm giving advice on, I wish somebody would have given me advice at times about the same situation.
Paying it forward, didn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's looking for, you know, he wants reimbursed with money and all that. No.
Can't put that into a song.
He wants his cut.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, it's streaming. There's zero cut.
Yeah. We'll give you, I'll burn your CD.
Yeah. I'm like, you got the Dropbox, bro.
Exactly. I mean, that's cool though.
Hell yeah.
I was trying to see, because I wrote down a fair few things here this evening. Do you know, I'm actually quite frustrated in myself, because I do have a question that I ask everybody as soon as I come on, and we kind of skip past it, which I think we got chatting, which isn't a bad thing, but it's based on the fact that I met Paul Holmes, who does Indie Rocks Radio. He's the station owner. I met him at a group for men, because we basically, you know, us guys don't chat about anything. We need to go and reach out. So we are both advocates of mental health. So
yeah,
the question I will always ask, which I should have asked first, and I apologize, is, how are you?
At the moment, I'm really good.
Good.
I'm fantastic. You know, I'm a huge advocate for the mental health. I recently just did an IGTV, and you got to pick, you know, a foundation or charity to donate to, and actually had a really good response and great donations for Mental Health Foundation. And yeah, I mean, we've all, nobody needs a pandemic to go through hard times. It just makes things worse.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, for me, I've been I've constantly had anxiety, definitely bouts of depression, and you know, low moments, and
Yeah.
I think we all go through those. The thing is just talking about it. And for me, one thing that I started doing years and years ago is journaling, and just getting that noise out of your head,
Yeah.
putting it out on paper, releasing it some way,
Mhm.
and just yeah, letting it out, clearing the pipes, right?
Absolutely.
And then it kind of, for me, it just kind of made things easier when it was time to talk to somebody. You kind of filtered out those things, and you could be like, hey, you know, this is what I'm going through. And then quickly you realize that you're not alone.
Absolutely. That's the best part about it, really.
Right.
Because it seems so daft, doesn't it? You're so concerned about opening up to somebody about how you're feeling, and then when you do, they look at you and say, man, I feel the same way. And you're like, really?
Mm-hmm.
So why couldn't we talk about this before? And it's like, because we're all stuck in our ways as men. We can't
Yeah.
just turn around and to a mate and say, do you know what, I'm just feeling really low today. Why? I don't know. You know? And it seems daft.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we all have our own pride and our own ego and all that stuff, and we never want to, and I'm speaking on my behalf, is just you never want to, you don't want to tell somebody else your problems, because you might see from afar that, hey, they've got their own issues, so I'm not going to fill them with mine or express my feelings as well. But it does take those conversations of you know, you opening up, and it might set a spark for them as well of, you know, hey, you know, I'm going through that too, or I had no idea, I'm here for you. And it just opens up the channels of communicating. And you know, in a perfect world, nobody's happy all the time. You're constantly comparing things, you know.
Is that the girlfriend texting?
No, it's actually work.
Oh, right. I'm not keeping you from work then, am I?
No, hold on.
That's cool, man. That's all right then. I was actually going to say something, but the pings just threw me off.
Sorry about that, man.
No, it's not your fault, mate. It's not. The anxiety and things like that, I think that comes from the creative mind.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, like I said,
there's a thin line between, what was it? There's a thin line between creativity and madness.
Yeah, I mean, being a creative person, you have a lot of noise going on in your head, and to kind of quiet that stuff and figure out how to deliver that, and especially if you're going to release in a form of art and music, it's such a vulnerable thing, you know, and it's hard to release, like, oh, even if I were to write a song and it has nothing to do with me, people might think it's about you, or tie that in. And it's kind of just like letting down the barriers and the walls and like opening up. And you know, nobody wants to talk about the bad times, but those bad times end up being a positive if you can get through them and strive for happiness, you know. And
some of the bad times make some of the best songs, though, don't they?
Oh man, I mean, my favorite songs are you know, when you're going through low moments, there, you know, there's always like certain artists or whatever, it's like, oh, they suck once they got off heroin. It's like, would you rather have that person like alive? I would rather have them be healthy and with us than, oh man, this guy's washed up now. I mean, I wish he'd go back to the needle.
I can understand them talking about it in the sense of the music and how it differs, but to literally want somebody to do that, it just seems
no.
Yeah.
I mean, I would feel awful. Like I'm over a year and a half sober.
Fantastic. Well done, man.
From booze and, back to mental health. I mean, that's another one that I totally don't have like the roller coaster ride that I used to. I still have anxiety, but it's not like as bad as it once was. But yeah, I mean, I would hate for somebody to be like, oh yeah, I really liked Kade when he, was 3-4 years ago when he was drinking all the time. His lyrics just connected to me more. Now he's just, a big old softy.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. People grow up, I've been kept sane the last 14 months, literally doing this.
Yeah,
it's been in the last 2 months that I've stepped into getting in front of the camera to do this, and to introduce myself to the world and to the artists.
Right.
I'm loving it. I really am, and I'm going to be 42 in October, and I originally thought to myself, this is not going to work because I'll end up chatting to like some 22-year-old, and I'll be like, hello, I'm old enough to be your dad. Tell me about your music. It's great because everyone I keep connecting to so far seems to be of around the same age, which is pleasant.
Yeah.
So, it's great. We could just chat. And I don't feel intimidated, which is great. Not to say that I didn't get nervous, because I always get nervous prior to starting this off. But as you can tell, I sort of get I just sort of
you lay back, right?
And everything just sort of
and you build everything up in your head of like, oh, I've got to do this interview, or I have to do this certain thing to this ability.
Exactly.
But once you kind of get sat in that moment, you're just like, hey, everyone's like everyone else. We're all wake up and go to bed and have things and events that happen in our life and during the day that, nobody's really that different. We've got kids and significant others, and whether it's good, bad, and ugly, it's like we've all gone through that. So it's relatable, like I said before, I'll be 40 in July, which is crazy to me. But I've connected, it's kind of cool to, in the last few months, like connecting to more or less my same age group, and thinking like, oh man, these people still like are driven, independent, finding like a path, whether it's podcasts or interviews or music, and
making sound,
still having that. What's that?
Or making sound bites for
making sound bites, just continuing to be creative, and at mid 30s or 40s, and to keep doing it and have passion and learn things that are new, I think is just so cool.
I am getting to grips with all the Adobe stuff now, because prior to that I was recording my shows on Audacity, which is open source, and I probably barely scratched the surface of what I could do with that, but I managed to do a fair amount.
Yeah.
And now the Adobe Audition stuff, I'm like, this stuff's like, and having fibro as well, not being able to retain anything, it's like I could do something, learn something, and then the following day I'll be like, how did I do that?
Dude, I'm the same way.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
I just started learning or trying to teach myself how to record. I've always had people record for me.
Yeah.
And I just invested all this money into recording software and plugins and equipment, and diving into it, and you're just like, man,
but
why didn't I do this before? And then
that's a question I keep asking myself. Why didn't I get into this before? I started out, I was 19, and I was going to be doing DJing around pubs and things, and doing karaoke and stuff like that, and having a laugh. Life gets in the way. Had to sell my equipment and all that. But now it's come all the way back round, and here I am. I'm doing basically something that I should have done years ago. Maybe though, by obviously getting across to that level, when you're older and you're more experienced in life,
right,
you can come at something with a bit less naivety, if that makes sense.
yeah, exactly.
There's
I feel
still,
like
there's still time for everything.
absolutely, and I feel too like we both look back and we're like, oh man, why did I get into this earlier, or continue with this?
Yeah.
I feel that, well, I just keep telling myself with recording, like I probably would have been distracted by something else. It would, and I wouldn't have given it, my full attention and drive to it. So I'm doing it now because it's the right time. This is, I actually want to sit down and learn these new things where, if I was like, oh, I wish I would have done this 5 or 10 years ago, I probably wouldn't have regardless. So like, it's coming to me at like the perfect time. And I'm like, if I'm going to be 40 and I start recording in the next 5 years or 10 years, like, look how much I'm going to learn and grow for myself and then anyone else.
It's not just that though. If you think about it, 5 or 10 years ago, technology was just a little bit further behind, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The like say the caliber of the music that's coming out now, that's all recorded from people at home in a studio, or not even a studio. There's a group of lads in Bolton. They're going to kill me if I get it wrong. Was it Bolton? It's got to be Bolton. Yeah, called the Shed Project, and they're called the Shed Project because they literally record in a shed.
Yeah.
But they've made some really fantastic music, and they're going to be doing a show in August, and they've got quite a strong following as well. And it's things like that just amaze me. But then they've when it talk about time as well, they're older than me. They've been like sort of they harken back to like the Manchester sound of the 90s and things like that.
Really cool.
And it's great. It just goes to show that, if you love something and you got the passion for it, just do it. Just, to hell with what it is. And they're making music for themselves, but they've now got a fan base, and it's fantastic. And I think that's what I love the most about the independent music scene.
It's so inspiring.
It is. It absolutely is. That is the perfect word for it.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, you can't knock anyone who's trying and putting in the effort, and none of it's easy. None of it's easy. Always when you sit down, it's a learning curve of one thing or the other, but it's problem solving and working through those things. And then when you do finish a project or do something, it just means so much more to you versus like, anyone can go to a producer and pay them a ton of money, and them, obviously they're talented and they serve a purpose. But what I've learned is I don't walk away with that same satisfaction and gratitude as like, whoa, dude, I recorded this primarily all on my own. I created my album artwork, my video content, like all hands on. It's like, it's, your creation, versus like handing that creation off to a team to do whatever the hell they want with it. And, if it fails, I can at least go, man, I had fun and learned all this stuff and did it on my own, versus like blaming somebody else, going, if it wasn't the label, we would be this and this and this.
Yeah. Or them basically saying you didn't meet the,
you did. Yeah.
Now you owe us money. It's like, what, hold on a minute. I'm the artist. It's my project. It's my music. And now I owe you money because it didn't meet your expectations.
Right.
Did you listen to the music? No. I've just got shares. Is that all?
Yeah. It's ugly. It's ugly. And there's so much music being pushed out daily that, who's to say that, a certain art or label or whatever is not giving you their undivided attention and doing, I would rather, I go to sleep at night knowing like, hey, I woke up and I spent 2-3 hours promoting and marketing my own music, versus like wondering in the back of your head, like, what is this team doing for us?
Yeah.
Like, are they doing anything? And then you wait for a week for results of something, and it's like, no emails back, no phone calls, that sort of thing. And you're just like, what am I paying you for? What am I doing?
I think as well, one of the things I do actually like as well about the independent thing is this, the fact that I messaged you and said, hey, do you want to have a chat? And you were like, hell yeah, cool. That's great. and then we had it sorted within what 3 or 4 days. And
yeah, super fast.
To the point that I've actually now completely altered next Tuesday's show idea so I can fit you in.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Right. But then, I could not imagine being like, I'll give you a basic, right? So, because obviously I've been signing up to a lot of things, I signed up to the Alice Cooper fan mail list, right?
Okay.
And on the fan mail list email that says, congratulations, you're part of the fan mail list for Alice Cooper. Would you like to ask him a question? I put, screw it. I put, hey, Alice. Do I put, hey, Alice, or hey, Mr. Cooper? I mean, it's Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
And I grew up with the whole respect your elders thing. But then if I call him Mr. Cooper, that sounds stupid. But so I sort of went, hi, Alice, this is Richard, blah, blah, blah. And I said, hey, would you ever consider having a chat with a small independent online radio station about music? And I just pressed send, and I thought, yeah, as if Alice Cooper's going to get back to me, because it's Alice Cooper.
Right.
And that's the thing. I think when you get to the level of that stardom, I don't want to say this because I don't want it to be completely real, but they're at that level, and I'm down here, and then you get like, Capital Radio UK are going to speak to Alice Cooper, or he could speak to Richard, and they're like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think
dream, can't you?
That would be fantastic. I mean, I feel too Alice Cooper is like a legend, but reaching out to certain bands of any sort of status and level,
Mm-hmm.
and if I were them, I'd want to do as many interviews and things as possible, because you never know what kind of audience or listener is going to catch on and check you out. I mean, you could be Alice Cooper, and there's 23-year-olds that might listen to this and they'd be like, Alice who? Like, is that what is that?
Who's she?
Yeah, who's she? She seems nice.
Here's a picture of her. She looks great. This is what COVID did to her last year. Oh man, I swear, right. You're going to do a disclaimer right now. If you are Alice Cooper and you have tuned into this podcast, I'm just joking. But hit me up at richardisontheradio@gmail.com and we'll have a chat.
Do it.
Yeah, that'll never happen, man.
I think
I'll pit him against Dave Grohl. Who's going to come first, Alice Cooper or Dave Grohl? It's up to you, Dave.
It's up to you, Dave.
Show Alice.
Step up.
I'll get you both up on the same podcast, and I'll just sit here going.
Yeah. Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah. Just leave me. I'm just a mediator.
Yeah, I'm just gonna edit this.
Yeah. But no, that's. I think that's what I'm starting to really enjoy, because it sounds daft, but if you ever laugh today and it sticks with you, and in 2 or 3 years down the line you suddenly find yourself touring and you hit the UK, and I come by and I'm like, hi, and you're like, hey man, how are you? And
that'd be sick.
Not one of these like, oh, I'm a big fan, man. It's like I just like a genuine hi, how are you? How are things? Great.
Right.
Bear in mind that I never go out, as you already know, 1998 in the cause. So, if I'm ever going to be anywhere, it's probably going to be a local.
Hey, you might as well go out if I am in the UK, and we're scheduled to be in the UK possibly next year in October. So
really, October's my birthday, the 15th. So if
done
October the 15th, 2022, I need backstage passes, man, and everything for me, and
do it,
and 700 people.
Hey, I'll play in front of 10 people over there. My bucket list and our band's bucket list is to get to the UK. We were scheduled to actually go last year, and it got pushed back. So, I mean, fingers crossed.
It's not just that though. It's just I say not to talk politics. We've already had the C word, but the B word being Brexit, and the way things are working out now I know artists leaving and coming back and all that, but it's just we see how it goes. But no, that would be cool. And if that happened, I think I definitely need to lose a bit of weight because if you saw me in person, you'd probably freaked out. And who knows? By 2022, I could go full ZZ Top. You know.
You could. You could.
Anyone gets in my way, just whip them with it. You know.
Wrap them with the beard.
Absolutely. But that would be cool. So just keep us in mind for that.
Yeah, I would love that.
Well, I'll definitely keep you guys in mind because this is I think we really want we want indie rocks to we want it to kick off. We want it to get to a point where, you know, we can stop doing this as a hobby,
right?
Maybe even do it as a job because I say 41 years old. I've been medically retired for the last 11 years because of the condition, and this is the first thing I've done in the last 15, 16 months that I really am passionate about, and I couldn't do. I'll be honest, I couldn't do it without bands like you, without guys like you coming on and just chatting, and it's great. And
I think it's fantastic.
It's really humbled me to know that I can actually sit and listen to a track and think, hey man, I'm talking to that guy this week. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, it gives you purpose, it gives you purpose, and it gets you something that you're excited about. And there's enough things in the world that can bring us down, and you know what, we all need to find something that makes us happy, and it doesn't always have to be to this level of creation, or you need a radio show or a podcast or whatever. It could be the simplest things, but having that thing that gets you going, and that you're passionate about, and just doing it is the big thing. And inconsistency, you say like, this is the third episode. I mean, as you keep doing it, you grow listeners, and they're going to look back and go, oh shit, this guy's got 50 episodes, 60 episodes, and they just start diving in,
and he does it all
to the rest of it.
Yeah.
Right. And the more you do it, then
you can tell by the shit editing.
But I mean, the people that that start catching on, and especially the people that they're seeking independent artists. Like not everyone is going to radio like they used to hear the same 20 artists over and over again. They want to find new music, and there's something relatable to independent artists and people that are starting from the ground up, and finding inspiration from other independent people, and continuing to like we were talking about earlier, is finding that audience of this little independent group. And I mean, I've been on podcasts as of recent, and I'm even checking out these certain artists and bands that I never would before, because I'm like, oh man, we all kind of have like the same story. And I feel you don't always have to be part of this big machine with labels and all this stuff, where there is the streaming music platforms, and there's YouTube and all those things, where I mean, you make what you want of it, right? And as long as you're putting out content that makes you happy and can connect, then at least you're doing the damn thing, right?
Absolutely, man. I've even started. I've started to become a bit more sociable on Twitter. I've jumped on the Spotify playlist bandwagon. If you see it's on my pinned tweet, at least it should still be. It's on my pinned tweet. So you'll have your Going Numb that's on the April on TiLt playlist, and then as of next Friday, you'll have your solo track on
playing head games.
Yeah,
hell yeah.
So that's cool, because it's a nice mixture as well on that playlist itself.
Right.
Just sitting.
Playlists are huge.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the new radio, right? Is landing these playlists.
I make loads of them as well. I've got about 30 different playlists on things for any kind of mood you can think of.
Right. Yeah, I recently just started creating my playlist. The first one, funny enough, is for my daughter, Riley Jax. She's 8 months, and she's already thanks, man. Loves music, and my girlfriend and I quickly learned like certain songs that she liked and that would calm her down. And one was like Tom Petty, Wildflowers. Oh, wow. Another band called Yonaka, they're from the UK. Fabulous. And
You'll
I
have
was
to
like, man,
you have to forward me a link to that one because I've not heard
oh,
of it.
they're sick. I'll send them to you.
Excellent.
And so I was like, oh, started creating this playlist. Well, then shortly after that, I started doing them for the Kade Katz project. Like I did a complete playlist with all my songs since everything's singles. But now we just created one for Throw the Fight because we're going to have some shows in July.
Cool.
And so we've created the set list on a playlist. So I'm listening to it daily now and just, refreshing my memory on everything. You can move the songs around so you can hear how they flow and jive together.
That's one of the things that usually takes my shows longer to put together, because I'll put together like 20 songs, or it's usually about anywhere between 22 if there's an interview on to 26 tracks, and I'll either go with the okay, we'll start in the UK first and then go to the US, or we'll do the ladies and the guys, but then I'll sort of mix and match and I'll be like, well, that track flows into this one really well.
Right.
And that's what takes the time. And
yeah,
maybe I'm just a bit of a pain in the ass doing that, but I feel like if it flows, it's just easiest to listen to.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And that's another thing with behind the scenes stuff is people don't understand, like when you're creating those playlists, like you're spending 20, 30 minutes, you're listening, like you're nitpicking everything. And for a listener, they're just like, slap it on and play. They don't think like, oh, homeboy was just like, he spent hours on this.
If I get invited to a barbecue, my friends all know that I'll have my phone in my hand, and if there's a Bluetooth speaker and I get it set up, I'm in control of the music.
Yeah.
and if we're playing one track, and if you're on Spotify and you're playing one track and you think, I know what will go next with this, and then suddenly boom, and then it's straight on next, add to a friend of ours 2 years back, she'd basically just beaten cancer, and we had a party and I made a playlist called the Fuck Cancer playlist. And she likes all the 90s stuff. So I basically compiled a playlist of like loads of 90s stuff that would have run 18 hours without a repeat of an artist. At least you wouldn't get a repeat artist. But I didn't just do it so you can press shuffle. I put it in an order, so if it went on at a certain time during the day, it would progress with the day.
Holy shit.
Based on how much we're all going to be drinking by the end of the night. So you start off with your mellow 90s stuff, and it's like, then it gets a bit poppy, but that's pretty cool. And later on, by the time you've eaten and you're sort of chilling like that, and then you're having a laugh and having a drink, then the more other stuff. And that's what I do. And I never learned to play an instrument, which I've said before is a blessing and a curse, because I've always wanted to, but at the same time, because of the fibro, my hands are bad. I can't play guitar, because doing that, it just the pain is just incredible. So I'd be more annoyed if I couldn't play the guitar that I knew how to play, So, blessing and a curse kind of thing, and swing the roundabouts, as you say.
Well, I mean, my parents, neither one of them can play a musical instrument, but they've introduced me to music very, very early on. They're both creative in their own ways. But, for my dad, like he's constantly creating, he's sending me artists to check out, or movie documentaries. And, like I said, he can't play anything music wise, but, he just has that almost like,
he has that ear,
different love and passion for music. And appreciation that I may not, because like I'll pop on a record and I can grab a guitar and like learn the song relatively quick, and you're like, it kind of takes the fun away. But for him, it's just like, it's a totally different outlook on music in general, and to create playlists and just diving into that aspect of things is just so cool, and can connect you with an artist even deeper than I think if you were just to hear it on a radio or something like that too.
I'll send you a couple of my playlists through Twitter. With the weather getting better, I've got a summer chills and a summer party playlist that go really
hell yeah,
and that's pretty cool. So
hell yeah.
It is 20 to 6 here in the UK. I'm going to be having 4 very hungry kids in a minute, so I will have to cut this short.
That's no worries, man.
Which is a pain in the ass, but it's been great, mate. I thanks for this.
No, thank you.
The fact that when I literally messaged you the other day and just thought, I'll see if you can do an interview. I was expecting to say something along the lines of, do you know what, mate? I can't do it this week because I'm busy. But I thought, screw it, sent it, boom, and here we are.
Yeah.
So, great.
Yeah, I mean, I would have been able to do it this weekend if I wasn't leaving to meet up with my kid and girlfriend that are just a few hours away. But
yeah,
for me, I'm just like, hey, let's just get it done and keep it fresh. And
yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's just an honor of anyone who's curious and wants to know more about the journey of my career and music. And obviously it's enticing knowing that, like, hey, there's new people to discover you. That's what the channel is.
That is.
And I think
exactly
that's awesome. Like, there's just so much out there. So to have any sort of platform of introducing your music to, especially overseas, I mean, that's just unreal. It's just humbling to me.
It's a kind of thing that wouldn't have occurred 20, 30 years ago, because you'd literally have to be here or send physical copies of things. And now, people are finding you, and that's what's good. The fact that I found you guys. This is our thing. I've had so much. I've listened to so much new music recently. I can't remember how I found you guys. That's the thing. But that in itself isn't a bad thing, because it means that, I know for a fact that I've been actively looking. I've got a Bandcamp and a SoundCloud account, and I don't put anything on them myself. I just go through it all.
Right, you're looking for artists.
Absolutely. If I see something I like, I'll see if it's available. I'll message them and ask them about it. And the thing is, when you message people and ask them about it, they don't say, "Have you bought it?" They say, "Would you like a copy?" It's like, "Oh, thank you."
Yeah.
So that's the great thing, and that's what's so funky about it.
Right.
But there you go. That's it.
I think it's awesome. I think it's so cool. Like, it's just inspiring knowing that, your background, and then knowing, you're kicking this off, and, your plans and visions of it is just, it's just inspiring and super cool.
Yeah, man. I don't want to. I think we're even thinking about trying to get some kind of better camera work and stuff. So if we do actually get out to gigs and pop backstage, we can set up a little set and say, and here we are, on microphones and stuff. I've got all the microphones and shit here, but I don't know how I'm going to do it at the moment, unless I literally hook it up to a phone,
Right. Well, even as like artists or whatever, you can do like a super intimate performance or whatever, like whether it's a song or two, and having that as a visual for the show. And I mean, it's pretty much sky's the limit.
That's made me think, this is literally just me shooting an idea, mainly because one of the other presenters on the channel said that he was going to be getting, well, obviously when we finally got the YouTube channel sorted out, he said some artists were going to be probably doing some acoustic sets, videos that they could send in. If you do, would you be all right if we shoved it on the thing? Make you could call it an exclusive to Indie Rocks. That would be great.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually going to be shooting some stuff in the next few weeks.
So we need to get you one of these, don't we?
Yeah, just put it right there. Boop. I'm actually looking to shoot a few like performance songs of my solo stuff, and then putting them up on YouTube or whatever. And I will be releasing I was just at the studio, just sitting against the wall, and I play a version of playing head games, just me and acoustic.
I saw it on you shared it on Twitter before he came on.
Yeah. So I'm gonna do, there's a full video of it that I'll put up on my YouTube. So if that's something that you want from me, I could send that. It's super stripped down. It's I'm trying to present people like the rawness too of everyone sounds perfect in a studio and auto tune and all that fun stuff, but I take pride in.
I know it sounds I know it sounds daft asking, but if you did that, just a little piece to camera where you said, and this is an exclusive to Indie Rocks UK or Indie Rocks Manchester, that way people don't think I've pulled it off your YouTube channel and I'm taking the piss.
Yeah, I'll do that.
That's brilliant, man. That's fantastic. Pass it on to the rest of the group as well, and then they throw the fight exclusive on Indie Rocks.
Yeah,
maybe. Well, we'll see. You know,
you want me to do it?
Maybe. I feel like an arsehole asking. I don't know why. Why should I feel bad asking? But that would be cool if you could.
No, I can send you the video. I'll email it to you. So I'll just do a quick deal. So this is Kade Katz. This is my unplugged version of my latest single called Playing Head Games. Just shot a quick little video, raw version. The studio I was actually recorded in at Nightfall Studios in Minneapolis. So give a watch and listen.
Shutting down is how I feel. Shutting down what is real. On and on, time fades away, and I see something in you I don't normally see. I'm falling more in love with you. I can't stop my heart from racing. Falling, 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 falling. I'm falling for you. Your ghost is haunting. See silence of you in the halls, hovering above me. Stillness in the air slowly falls, spinning around the moon, spinning. I know it's you. Miss you most when seasons change. And I see something in you I don't normally see. I'm falling more in love with you. I can't stop my heart from racing. Falling, 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 falling. I'm falling for you. Playing, playing, shutting down, shutting down. Playing, playing, spin around, and I see something in you I don't normally see. I'm falling more in love with you. I can't stop my heart from racing. Falling, 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 falling. I'm falling for you.
I actually shoot a full-on music video next Thursday for Playing Head Games. So I should have an exclusive on that in the next few weeks. It should get wrapped up, the editing and everything probably shortly after that. But yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to find different ways of delivering some of my songs in different ways. And,
Mhm.
you know, it's just all about content and visualization. And, you know, I've already gotten messages just from that little snippet that I posted, and everyone's like, "Oh man, I want the stripped back version." So I already emailed Jeremy and was like, yo, let's do a dialed back version. And I did that with the song Satellites of mine. I released the first full on version. And then I just did a one take live in the studio, just me and the guitar, and played it, videoed it, and then put that up on YouTube. And,
Yeah,
you know, I got a huge response of just people being like, man, I love this dialed back, just me and guitar.
Absolutely. It's the simple things. A lot of people are taking more to that nowadays. Just the one person, the guitar and the sound. It's so simple and just so easy to listen to as well.
Right. Well, and I feel there's a lot of artists that they don't know how to do, they don't know. I mean, as generations go on, everything, their instrument's going to be a laptop.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to grab a guitar or certain things. And, you know, it takes years of perfecting that gift and craft.
Hopefully it's not a dying art form, because
I hope not.
No, absolutely not. Right. Well, definitely going to scoot now, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for this.
Thank you, man.
I will let you know as soon as, well, I'll be tagging you for Tuesday anyway. I'll probably do it Monday night. If you can't get on straight away at that point, I completely understand time differences and all that. What I tend to do is the interviews will be probably into the second hour. So if you don't get the first hour, then second. But then we do repeat at 2 a.m. on Wednesday morning, which would be another 4 hours. I can't do it in my head today.
Math's tough.
8 p.m. You're certain?
Yeah, just tag me, man, and whatever. Send me all the content. If you have like snippets of the videos, I'm happy to help, man.
Yeah, this will. I can't tell you when the video will go up, because it, like I say, it took me about 2 days to edit the last one, and that was 2 weeks after the fact. So
yeah,
I'll finish writing episode 4 tomorrow. I'll probably record it when everybody's out of the house on Monday.
Yeah,
and then start on the video.
Hell yeah,
or the other way around, either or. I don't set time frames, because if I do, I miss them and I hate myself for it. And you can understand.
Don't be too hard on yourself.
All right, man. Well, thank you very much for today.
Thank you so much, man.
All the best, mate. And maybe come back again sometime when you've got something else new, and
I would love it. I've got tons of new solo stuff in the works, and we'll be dropping new bangers from Throw the Fight very soon.
Excellent, fantastic.
Cool.
All right, all the best.
Cheers, mate.
Drive safe to you.
Yes.
And hugs to the family, man.
Hugs to the family. Go feed your kids.
I will do, mate. See you later.
All right.
Bye.
Peace out.
Bye.
The TiLt interview.